Hi there, welcome to Stamping in the Barnyard. My name is Bethany Barnard and I'm excited that you found this video today because I'm excited about this little box that I've made up for Valentine's Day, and I've got some other ones that I'm making up for Easter and other occasions, which I'll share with you at the end. But they are really cute, and I learned how to make the slider card. And I know that there's another demonstrator who has a candy box out there using the slider card opening as well. But I'm not sure at all if her measurements are the same as mine. This is one I came up with mostly because I had some of my favorite, the big cup Reese's cups. Now I'm sure when we get closer to Easter, or maybe it's already out there, they'll have this in a box that's more a size perhaps that's more suited to the Valentine colors. But I decided to make a box here with other favorites of mine, which are, and you just slide this up, and I've got the red and gold here. Well, this is the sweet sorbet cardstock, and this looks more like sweet sorbet too. And the gold chocolate caramel and the dark chocolate, two of my favorite Dove chocolates as well. This is a very simple box to make. You can make two of these boxes from one sheet of cardstock, and that was important to me as well. I have also used the Country Floral Lane DSP, which is available in our mini catalog right now. But really any DSP will work. You can see here that although it's from that same packet, there's a lot of flowers and just interspersed with some hearts on it. And then this one, of course, does have hearts all over it. But I find that there's really a lot of paper out there. Stampin' Up! Has so many beautiful papers all the time. I'm sure you'll find one that suits you making this box, but it's going to be a Valentine box no matter what. If you use these punches from our Valentine or heart pair punch, they come together. It's $38 for both punches, and they've been around for a couple of years now. They have been my go-to for Valentine's Day. There's really quite a bit of room inside to always be able to put words, or in this case, I have die cut the word love, because the Love for You set comes with dies inside, and then you can die cut all of this. Love is a separate die, and it fits perfectly on this little heart, and I love it so much. So let's get started on how to make these. It's a very quick project and it will come up quickly. So you start with your 5x7 piece of cardstock. In this case, I've used the sweet sorbet, but I want you to have a chance to be able to see these directions or these measurements and write them down, although they are also going to be in the description underneath the video. So it's a 5x7, and when you put it in landscape, I love my Simply scoreboard, and it's easy to see these markings because I'm scoring at 1 1/8, and then again at 2 3/8. Now, I could give you these measurements further down on the ruler, but if I'm just a hair off on when I cut this down to 7 inches, that's gonna mess up my sides. So I'm gonna turn it around, flip it is what I said, flip and repeat. And so again at 1 1/8, and then again at 2 3/8. Then from our portrait or vertical positioning, then you're just gonna score 1 1/4 from both sides. So again, flip it and score it at 1 1/4. And then that's all the scoring that you need to be able to do the box and get 2 of these from the one sheet of cardstock. Okay, so the next thing we have to do, of course, is cut away. So we have little square boxes in all 4 corners, and we're going to cut those completely out. So here we go. 1. And when we glue this all together, I think you're going to see what I mean by why it's important to get your score lines, because you can butt the cardstock right up into that Simply Score. Now, if you're using something else, if you're using your trimmer to score, I don't think that's as exact either. So you know, it might not work out. I mean, the scoring on it's exact, but our ability to put the paper free, you know, free inside the trimmer, I think is less reliable. That's why I'm not trying, well, I am trying to sell you the Simply Scoreboard, so let me know if I can help you with that. Okay, and then we're gonna come up, and then now these 4 outer corners, we're gonna cut up to the first score line for all of them. And then we're gonna cut those just by eyeballing it in half all the way around. It just reduces bulk. And in fact, I think they're at one end taller than the sides, so you would have to cut them down anyway. So we'll put those aside. Okay, and then we're just gonna miter them, which just means you're gonna come in and angle it and kind of take out this triangular piece. That also is just really helpful to have your sides line up and give you a nice square box. And then we'll be done with all the cutting for our box, and we're going to go ahead and put our DSP on before we fold our box together as well. There we go. And yeah, I knew there was one left here. All right, that's all the cutting that you need to do. This is basically what it looks like. I do like to burnish all my folds with my trusty bone folder. It really is one of the best. It's not plastic, it really is bone, so it's amazing. And it gives you nice crisp, sharp edges, making your boxes really fit nicely. One left here. There we go. All right, now we're going to put our DSP on. And I've also written this out for you. Now you need to watch for any directional pattern on your DSP. For example, my hearts here, I don't want to put them on the opposite way. I want to make my heart slide up in the same direction. Some of this other paper, this paper, it would not have mattered. So make sure you pay attention to that, because you're going to have the 2 vertical pieces. And that's what I mean here when I say 2 vertical pieces. They're going to go on our front. So they're, in other words, they're going to go here and here. And they are 1 inch by 2 3/8. And then we have 2 that are 1 1/4 by 2 3/8. And then we have 2 that are 1 1/4 by 2 1/8. So again, these measurements will be in the description, and I hope that was enough time for you to be able to take a picture of those measurements. And now we need to actually glue them in place here. So let's do it. And I do love this liquid glue because it does really dry very quickly, and it gives you that little bit of time to slide them around to get them exactly where you want them, because I want these right on this flap here. Well done. And then my other vertical piece is here. I don't know if I've put this out of the view of the camera there for a while. I hope not. I've already cut this up twice to make this video because I didn't have enough paper here and had to run to my craft room. I don't film in the same room as all of my supplies, so I have to make sure I have them all out here when I'm filming. And I'm not smart enough to know how to edit. Okay, so this, you do want to, it's also directional, so you want to make sure that when the box is up, that all the hearts are going upward as well. So we'll put this here. So you can see the finished look there. Okay. You can see the other side of this paper too while I'm doing it. I love sort of this blue and green, and I'm gonna have another video up, if I don't already, where I've used that side of the paper for a very quick card, and I think it just is more, you know, we're so used to the red for Valentine's Day. We're also so used to it being about, you know, husbands and boyfriends and things like that. But, you know what? I like to be able to give something to my mother and to my grandchildren. I used to do it for my kids. Now it just goes to the grandkids. All right, so making sure that it's in the what will be the upright of the box here. And I got one more to put in, and then we can put the box together. You could even do this box without decorating it with DSP, but it does, I always think DSP adds to it. And again, if it's a directional paper, just make sure that you've thought through the directions. Okay, now we're going to put this together. So I just go ahead and put this glue again on both tabs. I just do 2 at a time, but I do go ahead and do one end, put the glue on right away, because you've got the time for it to take, but yet it dries fast, which you'll see because I'm doing this all right in front of you. And now I'm going to put the glue on these 2 ends. I like to call these wings, but I guess they are really tabs, aren't they? Bend that in. And this is where, by the way, this is where it matters about whether or not you have measured from by sticking it in the corner of that Simply Score, because if you're just a little bit off in the cutting of your cardstock, then these sides aren't going to match up, and it's so much easier to get a nice neat box if you are sure that the measurement is exactly the same from either end. And the scoreboard really lets that happen because you can tuck that cardstock right in the corner. And then you know that when you score it 1 1/4 from that side, it's going to be 1 1/4 every time. Okay, so there's our little box. All right, so now we got to make our slider. And we're going to start by using our punches. And what we need, I don't know for sure that we need this, but I have put a layer of 3 of these punches here because, and this is where to me a punch is so much better than dies because it's so much quicker. But I feel like it gives almost like a doorknob type thick feel for that slider. So we're going to do 1, 2, and 3 of these, and then we're going to need 1 sweet sorbet that will go in the middle. And there we go. Now I'm gonna, first we'll stack up our white pieces here. There's something about when the mirrored image of, I don't know if that's what you would call it, the mirrored image, but when both sides are exactly the same, that I think gives you a little bit more options of openers that you can make, because you know that they're the same on both sides. And I'll show you that, but it doesn't have to be the case. And I will show you what I mean by that too in a little bit. Okay, so I'm just stacking these, as I said, just to give it a firmer handle. I don't know what else to call it, but like you're really gripping something to fold that up, to open it and close it. And see, all these scallops just line up perfectly, so that's easy to see. And then we can put our red heart on. Red, it's sweet sorbet, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And then we give it that nice same surround on all the way around. This really reminds me of my 3rd grade Valentine's parties in school. All right, so as I said, I used the die on the gold foil to cut this out. And that E is actually really cut out, that piece in the center, because I just want to give you this tip as well. And we were talking about, you know, just remembering. It's very difficult to adhere something with all this really thin or delicate die cutting. But we sell these adhesive sheets, and they come in this size. There's a pack of, I don't remember how many pages there are. I feel like there's 10 sheets for like $11. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's something like that. And then I just cut a piece of gold foil, and it's like, you know, 2.5 by 2.5 inches. And then I cut the adhesive to 2.5 by 2.5, and I place that on the back. You pull off, there's all these seams here, see, where you can pull it off, and both sides are sticky. So then you would stick that on after you pull it off, and then you pull this piece off after you've die cut it. So you'll see here, when I die cut this, now I can pull this off. And a tip that we just recently had at one of my classes was, if you keep your adhesive sheets right with your die cutting machine, then you might not forget, because a lot of times I will cut this out and then say, I should have used that, because it's going to be a pain to put some adhesive on there. But at my last class, we all talked about where to keep it, and I'm thinking I just might keep it. I mostly keep my Stampin' Cut and emboss machine open because I use it so much, and only when I'm traveling do I fold it all up. So if I just slide this right in with it, it will remind me if I need to use this for delicate die cutting. Okay, so then I have here these iridescent pastel gems, and they come in gold, calypso, and balmy blue, I think is the colors that they tell me these are. So I've gone for what I think is probably the gold, because I'm kind of going with this gold. And have I shown you what's inside these chocolates yet? I think I did at the beginning. Yeah, I did. Okay, because I've got that gold and sweet sorbet color going on in my chocolates on the inside. So I really like, you know what? I have right, not even a foot away from me, my take your pick tool, which I could be using for this. But I just grabbed my scissors because that's a habit of years. Okay, so now this is ready once I put the mechanism on the back to slide that up. Well, how about if we put the chocolates in first? So what I did is I took these Dove milk chocolate with caramel. I put the flat sides together, and then I put them in here. And then I took the dark chocolates, which are in more of a sweet sorbet color. and I put them back to back in there. And then more caramels. I mean, which would you eat first? The dark chocolate or the caramel? There we go. All right, so they're ready. All we need now is that sliding mechanism. And the way that we make that is now from that, not lacy punch, but the regular heart punch, we need to cut 3 more. So remember, it's 3 of the lacy in white and 3 of the plain in white. And really, it doesn't matter so much if the ones I'm talking about right now, they could have been in the red, sweet sorbet, except I don't have enough of that here, so we're gonna have to do it in the white. Okay, so I'm taking now my bone folder, and you only have to do this to 2 of them, but we're gonna be folding these in half crisply. So if you kind of break the fibers a little bit, it will fold more easily for you. So that's my recommendation. And you don't really see these. They're just part of the mechanism that we're gonna make here. Okay, so now as carefully as you can, I always start by trying to line these up exactly. But as I said, they're exactly symmetrical, which is what I think helps to make this mechanism work. Although I have done the mechanism differently, and I'll show you that when we're done here, to make it work when it's not a symmetrical punch or die cut that you have. All right, so that's 1. You're gonna need to do that to 2 of your punch outs, heart punch outs. And you know, the other heart punch that we have this year, which I am all for you purchasing, but it doesn't line up quite like this. So that's why I really do love these trusty pair of punches. And I love how they coordinate together with the lacy bottom. Okay, so now on this last one, we are gonna glue these on top. So I'm putting glue on just 1/2. And so I'm gonna take half of this and attach it. I hope you guys can see it when I've sort of got white on white going on here. Again, I can slide it a little bit because I'm using the liquid glue. And now I'm gonna put some on the other side. And now we're gonna put this side on, and we're gonna butt this right up so you can see that it makes the heart again, right? Okay. So now you kind of have, in fact, I thought, wouldn't it be cute, and you certainly could do this, where you just put a bunch of these inside and you could have sort of a 3D heart going on the top too. That's another idea. But that's not what we're doing today. So on these 2 that move, wings if you like, I guess I call everything wings. I do like wings. Okay. And I like to do this part by moving this upside down, because this is actually a bigger heart, and so it's easier for me to see that I've got it pretty much in the center, although that's not as important as you might think. You just basically don't want any to show, I guess, except it doesn't really matter because it's going to be underneath the slider. Okay, so now you have here, right, you have this little, both sides. Yep, here we go. Both sides here. Right? That's what you're going to slip into the slider. And I'll be doing this again with this one, and you'll see. And I think I have one over there I can do that with too. Again, I love the hearts because you get to start. This is easy place to start. When you do it with, say, a square or something, you have to get more of it underneath. But you can just poke one side in and one side in there. I hope you can see that. And then slide it on. And see? That's a closure. Isn't that cool? Love it. So again, if you want to see how to do that, you can pull these out. I like to do that to where my thumb kind of gives me just a little bit of a lift for them, so I can see where this one goes in, and then the other side here. And then you can slide that down. And there you have it. So I hope that explains everything. I'm going to just show you 2 more boxes that I made, and I will probably, hopefully, be doing a video on this because everything is exactly the same because I still was sizing up my big cup, Reese cup, but I love punches, but look at this one with the meadow, right? Still haven't put words on them yet. And I think I stole the Reese cup out of this to put it in, one of the other boxes, so it's still empty in there. But here's a little white bunny. And then here's one that I colored in a lighter brown. And oh, I feel something in here. Oh yeah, my Reese's cup's in there. So I guess every season of the year, every little holiday we celebrate, we're into chocolates, and why not? But there we have it. How cute are they, right? A little bunny in the meadow. But right now, we've got Valentine's Day coming up, and you will be ready with these cute little boxes. 2 per sheet of cardstock, and they're very quick and simple, not a lot of scoring or cutting. Thanks for joining me.